Yo guys, good afternoon, good afternoon. What's going on? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Just wanted to do a quick little live stream here today. A small one, probably about 20-30 minutes, small live stream, just to go over this week's like a little bit of a game plan, some of the things to expect and watch out for this week, some of the things I'll be looking for this week, etc., etc. Now, before we move any further, I need you guys to do me a quick favor. I need you to hit that like button for me. Smash it, smash it, smash it, because it really helps out tremendously. Hate to ask, but you know, I gotta ask. So hit that like button for me. It really helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. All right. So like I said, hope everybody's having a good weekend. We got a week that's jam-packed full of stuff. I mean, just over the weekend itself, I think it's a UBS, USB. What is it? UBS, I think it is. UBS. Let me see here. Yeah, UBS has offered to buy Credit Suisse. So that's something. $1 billion. That is just a small droplet of what they're supposed to be worth. So there's that going on. Also, we had the White House reach out to Warren Buffett, and they're talking about the banking crisis. So, I mean, anytime you bring the big guns in like that, it's got to be something that's not looking the greatest right now for I guess the banking sector, right? Just insanity. That's something else that's going on. Like it's on ongoing development. So you have White House talking to Warren Buffett. You have UBS trying to buy out Credit Suisse. You have, is it Tuesday? When do we have the FOMC meeting? Let's see here. March. So that happened. Yes, starts on Tuesday. FOMC meeting March 21st and 22nd. So we have that coming up this week as well. It's just an onslaught of things to go. So real quick, before we move any further, if you're interested, we will be sending out the watch list tomorrow morning. You can sign up for it there, link in chat. All right, so that's completely free. So some of the things to watch out for this week is that. And then we'll look at some of the levels of what's going on out there, okay? So we'll look at the SPY, and then obviously right before we end the stream, we'll do a little Q&A session in case you guys are interested in asking any questions or looking up any specific charts. Now, I know there's some other pieces of macro news out there. Those are the top three that I can think of or come up with right now. Of course, in typical fashion for me, I did not write any notes before the live stream because this was just a random one, which I think might start to become a little bit more, something that'll happen a little bit more often on Sundays. So let's see here. UBS reportedly agrees to buy Credit Suisse for more than $2 billion. Oh, now it says $2 billion. Earlier, they were saying it was a $1 billion offer to purchase Credit Suisse. So there's that. Guys, thank you very much for the likes. Appreciate that. Let's see here. UBS sealed a deal to buy rival Swiss bank Credit Suisse in an effort to avoid further market-shaking turmoil in global banking, Swiss authorities said on Sunday. The Swiss Central Bank will supply substantial liquidity to the merged bank, it said at news conference at Swiss Capital. It said the deal marked a solution to secure financial stability and protect the Swiss economy in an exceptional situation. So that's what's going on. Andy, what's up, what's up? So that's what's going on there with that. Another piece of news that came out here over the weekend is the small regional banks are asking FDIC to basically let it be known that they will cover all deposits for the next 2 years. Period blank. Like that. That it goes both ways. Some people might look at that and be like, oh man, you know, the regional banks must be absolutely about to get demolished if they're asking for the FDIC to do this. Well, it could be, in part. Another part of it could be them just saying, hey, you know what? Why don't we get ahead of things? You know, we're okay, but let's just go ahead and put out that statement, let everybody know we're all right. And in case we're not going to be all right, they're still okay because they'll be insured. So that why? Why would they want the FDIC to do this? It's very simple. They know that will cause peace of mind. It'll set the masses to some sort of tranquility level, which would maybe set a barrier for them not to be doing the bank runs. Because really the bank runs is what's been destroying these banks for the most part. If you wouldn't have had the bank run happen at the Silicon Valley Bank, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Chances are we wouldn't even be doing this live stream today. So that's a super important thing that's going on there, okay? Now, with all that said, let's hop on over to the SPY real quick here. Let's start bringing that daily chart up. And let's talk about the FOMC meeting. So tomorrow's Monday the 20th. We got the 21st on Tuesday. That's day number 1 of the FOMC meeting, as you know. Then on Wednesday, we'll have the same song and dance where Jerome will come out. You know, he'll do his press conference, take some questions, and we'll get that announcement. So far, everybody's thinking 25 basis points is what it'll be. What we'll get on Wednesday. Prior to, I would say, middle of last week, people were thinking, and I was in that camp, that the Fed might pause. They might pause, but I don't think they will anymore. I think, and I said it on Friday, I think they'll give us 25 basis points. It would not be smart for them to pause. It would not be smart for them to pause right now. Now we could simply put, I think, 25 basis point, boom, and then watch and wait and see. By the time the next meeting rolls around, which I think is not until May, they'll have ample data on their hands, and they can decide whether or not to pause in May. At least it's some sort of temporary pause, maybe. You know, we can see that. So if the market if the FOMC comes out on Wednesday, says, "Hey guys, we're gonna go ahead and take a pause here," I think that would definitely cause the markets to react. And I would imagine it would be one of those reactions that would cause the market to probably rip its face right back up towards that 400 zone. If they come out and they give us 25 basis point, I think that's what everyone's expecting. So I don't think we would get much out of that, right? So I think it's all going to be right around this banking sector stuff. But let's say this week things get even more bearish. When you look at this here in the short term, you're seeing higher low, higher low, higher low. But you cannot ignore the fact that we have the 200-day and the 100-day moving average here on this daily chart. And no one can tell me that it's not showing up as a level of resistance, because it sure as hell is. Look, resistance right here on the 200. Resistance right here on the 200. We broke out up and over both the 100 and the 200-day moving average. And then we lost it. That's a bearish sentiment there. That's a bearish signal. All right. When you it's a false breakout. So where did we find resistance on this day? On the 100-day moving average, right? So all of this tells me that we'll probably end up, if we're free to trade off these technicals, you know, coming on back down. Let's open up this chart a little bit here so I could draw these candles. Coming on back down. And I honestly fully expect, I don't know if it's going to be this week, right? But I honestly fully expect us, more than likely before the summer, to be trading down here. At some point or another, we will be in this 380 to 375 zone, in my opinion, right in here. You see that? It's not to say that I think, because I don't, that we'll get down here anytime soon. I do not. I do believe we get all the way back down here somewhere in this vicinity rather soon. I would believe that it would happen before the summer. I think the only time we'll get down here again and possibly crack that zone, would be once we have kind of established and proven and confirmed that there's going to be a recession. I think that's pretty much it there. That's what I'm thinking right now as far as, the longer term, effect. When can that be? I don't know. It could be Q4 of this year. Could be Q3 of this year. Could be Q4 of this year. Or it could really just be Q1 of next year. Don't know really when that could happen. But that's the only time that I think we get all the way back down here. Unless some crazy other black swan event happens that doesn't have anything to do with confirming a recession, I don't think we get back down here without a recession, in other words. That's just my thought on that. Now, let me see here. Now, as far as the shorter term, meaning, leading into the summer, so May, June area, right? I think we should be trading down here, and I think we get there a little bit sooner than that. I think we get there a little bit sooner than that. All right. Let's see. Yo, Bill, agreed. Bill, glad to see you here on Sunday, man. One of these impromptu live streams, right? So, it all depends on this week's action with the banks and on this week's action with the Fed. Like, to the bullish side, to the bearish side, I see us here in this range, right? I see us in the 380 range. To the bullish side, I would not believe us to go past 400. I wouldn't believe us to go past 400. I think 400 would hold at least this week. But I don't know, man. I'm telling you right now, I think the next 2 weeks, I'll call it the next 2 weeks, we get down here. We get down here in this 380 to 375 zone in the next 2 weeks. So what's that? By the end of March. End of March, beginning of April, I think we get down there. Especially provided if this week we just get an onslaught of bearish data. If that's what happens this week, I have to believe game over, we get down there. So tomorrow, for me, I think we get maybe a little bit of a sell-off with some consolidation ahead of the FOMC meeting. This is like the telltale sign that we always get. Get a little bit of early morning action, followed by a lot of chop tomorrow late afternoon, and definitely a lot of chop on Tuesday, and then maybe a little bit more on Wednesday. Then after Jerome comes out, after the meeting concludes and he does his press conference, that's when we get our directional move, and we tend to get a multi-day directional move off of that news. So we'll have to wait and see what Jerome has to say. We'll have to wait and see what kind of questions they ask them. They will be asking him questions about the banking sector, whether or not the Fed will provide liquidity, whether or not the Fed's going to continue to allow them to take out loans, and holding the bonds the banks have as collateral, which is really 100% secured loan. There's no loss there. You hold that bond until maturity, you get all your money back plus the interest. There's no loss there. So those are pretty good. That was a pretty good idea that they came up with when they did that loan, using the bonds as collateral. That's a no-brainer. Actually, it was one of the smartest moves I've ever seen the Fed do, like that from one day to the next. Like, it was like they had that in their back pocket at the ready, and no one had talked about that on social media at any point in time that I could see. So that was really cool to see them pull that rabbit out of that hat so quick. With that said, this week, like, I'm still going to come in tomorrow with kind of a neutral standpoint, but still with a little bit more of a bearish sentiment. And then I'll watch and see whether or not we get that downside start to come later on in the morning. Now, that's my plan here on the SPY. Now, we can go look at some names here. Like, look, FRC. I have this stock right here is on like my watch list. Okay, this is a YOLO play. I don't really do these very often. As a matter of fact, last time I did one of these, it was AMC, and it was AMC when it was at $2.18. Before AMC was cool and everybody was trading it on Reddit. We had traded it here at the daytraderchatroom.com, and we were in from $2.18, and we ran that one, we ran with it all the way up towards 18. I got flat up there at 18. Who would have known sucker would go as high as it did? But it was just a banger. FRC is my next YOLO idea. Just because AMC was a huge winner doesn't mean FRC will be. With FRC, what I'm going to be doing on this one is, once I enter the trade, it's going to be based off of options, and I'm going to be looking at more than likely leaps. For those of you who don't know what leaps are, it's when you buy options a year out, okay? So I'm going to be buying this with an expiration a year out, more than likely, and holding on to it, because if these regional banks are saved, and big if FRC doesn't go under and it gets saved and everything gets stabilized in that banking sector, then there's no reason why FRC would not come right back to here or even here. And in my opinion, that would be a banger on some leaps. Now, when I'm talking about these leaps, I'm talking about, probably $600, $700 contracts, meaning they're going to be $6-7, is more or less what I'm expecting, especially if we go a little bit lower. So it's a no-brainer for me to buy one or two of those and just hold on to them, right? The risk to reward parameter is there for me. If I lose $600-700 or even $1,000, $1,200, it's not the end of the world. I can lose that and be okay with it. Or if these work out and they move 500, 1,000%, boom, you know what I mean? It's a no-brainer trade. This is something that could take a while to work itself out. So I would go ahead and buy that time and buy in on leaps and, buy something like the $50, $40, $50 leaps, maybe $60 ones, and just hold on to them. Just hold on to him. It's like it's a hero or a zero play. In other words, that's the purpose of the YOLO. I don't do them that often. When I do them, they're usually once, maybe twice a year. Okay, and that's it. I'm not a YOLO trader. I don't do that nonsense. But when I go after these YOLOs, they're usually in situations like this. Like back when AMC, I traded that when AMC, right smack dab when COVID happened, the sucker was at $2 and change. I went ahead and entered AMC long with some call options. They were almost leaps if they weren't leaps, if I remember correctly. I think they were leaps. I think it was the same thing. And I ran those. They were freaking awesome. It was a great trade for me. I would have done better at that case if it would have been the options. Why? Simply put, well, because AMC just banged really, really fast. It didn't take a while to get up there. I was even in a starter position. I wasn't even in my full size. Here, I'm just going to, like I said, that's my plan. I'm going to grab a couple of those leaps, hold on to them, and see if FRC can get itself back up towards 70, 80, $100. And that's where I'm a seller at. Simple as that. Okay. Now, let's go take a quick peek at some other names to look at this week. Tesla has been testing that 184 zone. You guys can see it here clear as day. Previous support zone here. Previous support zone back here. Support right in here. Turned resistance here, and now it's been a level of resistance right up in here. The only thing that Tesla has going for it right now is the simple fact that it has been holding on to that 100-day and that 50-day moving average zone very well. You can see how it held it right here and how it held it right in here on Friday. Okay, so it's kind of getting really tight there. I would expect some sort of breakout or down, which would be a significant move if it happens. All right, you could maybe see something like that take place right back to 200, 195 zone, or you could finally see that crack into 170, which should give you follow through right back into 162, 160 area. All right, so those would be the levels I would be watching on Tesla. Okay, guys. Another name to be watching, AMD. Look at this thing go, guys. It's fast approaching that $100 zone. That $100 zone, let's clear this chart up, is a previous support zone right in here. Right in there. Okay? We've gotten up into that zone. If that level begins to hold resistance, I would watch for a drop back into the 90, 89, 88 zone, where would be the possible next bigger level of support. If you break up and over that, well then you got room to run here. You could see this thing right back at 105 rather quickly. All right. So those are it. Those are like some of the main names I would be watching. You can also keep an eye on Google. This one's been on a nice run and tear. You have Bank of America all the way back down here at 27 and change. This one doesn't have major support until pretty much mid 26s. That could be another one to watch. But like the main stuff I'll be watching is obviously going to be the SPY as I trade futures, and then that FRC trade as well as Tesla. Microsoft, think that run can continue. Microsoft, well, I mean, if that candle is real. Okay, no, that candle's a misprint. I was like, damn. Like, what in the hell happened there? Yeah, candle's a misprint. Okay, so we got as high as 284 zone. $284 zone. And you have room to run here, but you really need to be above this 270, 277 zone, 278 zone. And really, this thing, it's been on a rampage. The volume is amazing. So if it can consolidate a little bit above this 277, it's got a shot. It's got a shot. All right. All right, guys. Any other questions before I head out for the rest of the afternoon? I'll be back tomorrow streaming at 9:15 a.m. Let me get you guys the link to the 9:15 a.m. stream. I don't know if it's going to show up here now. Yeah. So here's tomorrow's stream. That's tomorrow's stream, so you can watch it. And if you're not on the free watch list, click that. We don't spam. We don't do that nonsense. We send out quality emails. All right. ELF. Wow. What a move. I mean, this is at all-time highs, right? So there's really no levels to go off of there outside of watching for, maybe if you can hold this 67 zone. You don't really have any potential major support really until 10 points down in the 57s. It's crazy. What an insane move that thing's done. That's an insane one. Let me see something here. Okay, so let's hop on over to this other chart real quick. All right, so here's your futures. Here's your ES. On depending where we open up on in the afternoon session today, when we get Globex to open up, I would watch those 3963 area. That's a previous minor level of resistance here on the 60-minute chart. So I would definitely watch for possible resistance there on any pops. If we break under this 3942 zone, you do have room to fall there until about 3930s. Under 3930s, I'd watch 3920s for support. Under 3920s, man, you're really talking about 3900. And then you got really good support at 3890 and 3870s. So those will be the levels to watch on that. Then top resistance, probably 3992. And then that, 4010 zone. 4010 has been a pain in the butt. So those will be levels I'd be watching. All right. All right, guys. Any last minute questions before I head on out? Letting Jonal know, because I'm going to see if he can send this in an email to everybody, this video, so they can watch it later in case they weren't around for the stream. Yo, Bill, yep, you got it, man. No problems at all. See you tomorrow. It's totally my pleasure. All right, guys, if that's it, then I'm going to go ahead and start getting out of here. Any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Oh, before I go, remember, if you're looking for a prop firm to trade with, here's who I trade with. They have 80% off on their evaluation accounts. Right now, it ends on the 24th. So it ends this week. A lot of you guys have been taking advantage of it. And congratulations, because it's a no-brainer. Show you real quick here. You come on over to the site and imagine you can get the ones that you guys have been taking advantage of the most has been the launch 50,000 and the 150,000 one. It's a no-brainer because you're gonna go ahead and let's say you get that $50,000 one. It's normally $180 a month. You're talking about you're gonna get that thing for 36 bucks a month, and that's for life, right? As long as you want to be in that evaluation account, as long as you're in the evaluation account. If it takes you a month, you only pay 36 bucks. If it takes you 3 months, well, you paid 36 bucks every single month. It's a no-brainer, right? And the same with the cruise. That one is typically 305 minus the discount. You're talking about $61 for the $150,000 account. That's crazy, man. Yep, my pleasure, Roman. Totally my pleasure. So links there in chat, guys. If you want to take advantage of that, go ahead. If not, I hope to see you guys tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m. Remember, I live trade my account here with you guys. So I hope to see you in the morning, guys. Thank you very much for watching and hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, all right? And I'll see you soon, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Peace.